Right, so we just updated the player attribute tests to use quick, and also we updated the game effects by event spec, test, to be quick specs too. Right. That is fine. I will leave that comment there. I don't think I will be getting to the client, the command line interface today. What I would like to do here is we already have cards, core, effects, and tests. One thing I want to do is to split them up. The music is a bit loud. Let me change that. It's a little bit disorientating. I think so. That is the word. I think I want to split this into a deck builder kit. So there are source and tests, and a slay the spire.swift. Swifty Spire. Oh, Swifty Spire sounds good enough. Let's see. If I add a new folder under the sources, right? This would be Spire.swift. Sounds lovely too, but I'm not sure how much would the SPM and everything else hate me about naming a folder called Spire.swift. Slay the Spire, not just Spire.swift. Sounds lovely. And let's see. Right. Definitely cards belong to Spire for sure. And card tests. We would also need a new folder called Spire.swift tests. I already hate myself and naming it like that, but that is fine. Put the card test into Spire.swift tests. It built. So that's good news because we know for sure, right? All the Spire stuff and the test, they rely, right? Let's see. If we go into the package and if we go into the products, right? And one can say we have another library. Its name is Spire.swift. And the target is also, Spire.swift. And I want to format this exactly like the one above. And now we would have target, deck builder, and we can also have a Spire. Come on. You're so smart. And a test target exactly like that, but instead of deck builder kit test, this would be a Spire.swift tests. And interesting. Does it have any dependencies? It does. Yes. Smart. So smart. It relies on the deck builder kit. It relies on Spire.swift. It also relies on quick. Build successful, but hey, there's the Spire.swift kit. Cool. Can I run a test? Can I build? I cannot build. Cannot find card. Of course. We gotta import deck builder kit. We gotta import a bunch. No, actually, it's just 2 files. There's no game. Oh, right, because there should be a public thingy. And this is also public. And I guess you would have to be public too. Public. Cannot spell. I wonder though, do you have to? Yes, you do. Must be public because I think gang right now should be public, right? Public, public, public. Yep. What else is not working? Tell me. Cannot find gang. Does cards initialization is public? I think debuff itself because let's see. Cards, and I would have a new folder called effects. This is Spire effects, specifically to the Spire. You don't know what is effect. Now, once you get to know the deck builder kit, you will know what is effect. Really? You still don't understand what is gain and what is focus? Right. You probably don't know what is focus. This is game specific. So in the Spire.swift folder, I probably would also want a core folder, right? How are they ordered? I wonder. Because... Wait, what? Because it's certainly not alphabetically. Well, at least not here. But at least this seems to be alphabetically ordered. Alright. The core part, the attribute would be part of the Spire core because this is game specific. I vaguely remember I put that elsewhere too. Yep, this is game specific. But having a name and having the effect, it is not game specific. Okay, now we can't find at. Right. This would be public. This would also be public. Public. Can't spell. Right, what we're doing is we're just moving things, moving game-specific things into the Spire.swift kit. Well, start of the player turn. Right, this game event is also core to the Spire.swift. It still complains about cannot find game in scope. Right, I think I know what is happening. This is public. This is a public enum. Effect builder, right? Cannot infer the focus. Oops. Card gang. Aha, right. So now if we go back to the deck builder kit, it says, I don't know anything about attribute. It's specifically its type. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? Yes. Now we have to think about how can we make this abstract. Game doesn't have a game event anymore, and player, right? Player would also complain about I don't know anything about attribute type and attribute. I think what we can do here is we can write a protocol for attribute type, which is actually just a hashable. Doesn't need anything else. So you would have a attribute type, which is hashable. Ah, right, I don't even need to define a protocol. It just has to be is there a protocol that says something can be publicly initialized? Oh, interesting. I just need a default initializer. Attributes type. And then it takes the type. Attribute interface. For the lack of a better mechanism, let's just try this. You would have an associated type, which is attribute type. And you would have an initializer that takes a type, an attributed type, and a value, which is an int. No, actually, this is double. And I don't think I care about anything else. Okay, this music is making me nervous. How about we just stay here? Yep. The lobby music makes me calm, makes me happy. All right, and then we have attribute, which is attribute interface. And .make is inaccessible due to file private protection level. Let's not do that yet, but this would complain, right? Huh. If this is the case, is there a way for me to write a generic that says, hey, I might have something that is attribute type, and I might have something that is... What? Oh, uses an internal type. You need to be public. I think I'm just giving myself troubles. Working through these types might be fun, but it's also quite a lot of suffering. Private extension, and I still want to write an dictionary where... Can I do that? It doesn't have that. Where key is attribute type and value is attribute. Does that work? Attribute type. Oh, right. Attribute type doesn't exist. Okay. Then I guess... This would actually be a private extension on the player, because only player has these information, right? It would have the attribute type and attribute. Attribute type is not only hashable, and it's case iterable. I think just one end rather than two end. And cannot convert the attribute type, which is a generic, to the expected. Ah, right. Attribute type and attribute interface. Can I say where attribute... Something like this, but it's kind of in reverse. Is attribute type. Can I write it like that? Does that work? Does that actually work? This would be make attributes. Right. This would be a static func. Huh. I can't believe that actually worked. All right. Game. This makes everything so hard. Can I? Because player needs this. Because player needs this, the game would also need these. I'm just thinking, is there a way that I can create these types? There's an idea of a type box, actually. Not sure whether box is the best name for it, but with the type box, we can write everything here like so. I'm not sure what's the best way. It seems to be duplicated. Let's see. I think this would work. Would work. Game would also need a bunch of these, and the player, can I just do that? Attribute type and attribute being attribute. Would that work? That would work. But here is the thing. Okay. I would also need now this code is getting ugly, sort of. I'd rather you be the first and you be the second. So it's just slightly easier to read. And we also need a game event, which can just be anything, it seems. Oh, game event is hashable and case iterable. Right. And now we have to do this extension on the game object itself. And it will return a game event and effect thingy. Make effects by event. I want to try this thing out. I'm not sure whether this would work or not. But if it works, beautiful. Seems it is okay. Attribute type. Player, oh right. Attribute and attribute type. There we go. Effect. Oof. It's almost like I want to have all these types, to have these associate types, and they all align together. Attribute is attribute interface, associate type, attribute. Type is, yeah. And associate type game event is also that. And then this would be attribute type, and game event. Would that even work? Ah. Attributes. I don't need that. I just need the attribute to attribute type thingy. Does not conform. Do you not conform? You should conform. It's case iterable and hashable. Yep. I wonder, does ChatGPT know whether there's a good way to just define all of this in one place, you know? So I don't have to define all of this again and again and again. Use of protocol effects as a type must be written as any effect, any effect. Cannot convert the value to the expected argument type. Yeah, it gets quite a lot of headaches. Oh, right. Attribute type, and game event. Does that work? Oh, it does not. Darn. What if, right? What if I write the protocol? Can I have a generic protocol? An associate type named must be declared in the protocol or protocol it inherits. Really? Alright, it's hurting my head. Oh, Princess Luna. She's hungry. Right, it's past her feeding time already. Let me feed her now. Be real quick. I'll be right back. 2 minutes. 1 minute most, right? It's really easy, just feeding you. Come. Good girl. All right, I think I have hit a roadblock if I'm trying to extract, right, all of this. Let me actually ask ChatGPT. Swift's programming, if I have a game, I have some code for a game. I have game event, player attribute, player attribute type, and I want to extract these into abstract components so I can reuse the game logic as an SDK. Maybe just give it some code actually, so it understands what I'm talking about. Sure. Actually, I think, yeah, like so. Maybe just like that. And let's see the game object. And the effect object. currently the code looks like this, but the compiler is quite unhappy about game requires the types self.attribute type and to be equivalent. If that is the case, I don't think I need that. This attribute would just be attribute type. Effect. And I have like, right, I have cards too. And it is not happy about anything. I'm happy about all the generics mixed with protocols. What can we do here? Okay, ChatGPT took. The issue you're encountering arises from the complex interactions between protocols with associate types and generic Swift type system. While powerful, has limitations when dealing with protocols that have associate types, especially when you mix and nest them as you have done. Wait a minute. The effect, right, it doesn't have to be a protocol, actually. Simplify associate types. If possible, reduce the number of associate types declaration in your protocols. And favor generic constraints in your structs and classes. For example, instead of having a protocol with an associate type, you can define a generic type parameter in structs or functions that uses the protocol. Use type erasure, yep, get any effect. Any effect, ooh. You can initialize with a effect and type erase it, and then you can apply it to a game. Interesting. Use concrete types for events. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to do. Latin the generic structures, yeah. Instead of passing multiple levels of generics, consider creating more focused types with fewer layers of abstraction. Game attribute interface. Create the player with the attribute. Separate core logic from effects. Consider separating your game logic into smaller components to reduce number of generic constraints. Effects can operate on more abstracted interfaces instead of directly on the game struct. Like a game context. Explicit constraints for effect builder is a custom result builder ensure it returns a concrete type or a collection of effects instance rather than trying to infer types through generics. Avoid over generic models. In case where the number of generics becomes unmanageable, evaluate if they are truly necessary. Can you replace some with concrete types or shared abstractions? Good call, game. Good call. It does seem like this is getting out of hand. What did it say about player? It did say player attribute interface and attribute type. You would just have an attribute. And I actually don't need this part, I think. Attribute dot attribute type. Right? Right. Right. The car does not conform. Right. Game. This is getting too much. Yeah. You have attribute and you have... Yeah, you just have attribute. That's fine. That is gone. We're just simplifying things now. It doesn't like the protocol effectors. I'm having a different thought. What if, right? What if player is not its own object? Because everything is spawning from the game. We can make a game object and every other object is just nested in the game itself. Right, so rather than, we could say extension, actually it's a public extension, on game, right? And then we can say, hey, we would have exactly that. And if I just say that, public modifier is redundant for the, yep. And generic parameter attribute shadows generic parameter from outer with the same, that is, oh right, yeah. This way I don't actually, so game basically becomes our type box. Sure. I think this can be gone and the game dot player, and this will just work, right? The one thing I have to leave here is make attributes. Okay. Rather than having effect, we can say extension game. It's a public extension game, right? And then we can say we have a struct, which is an effect. And what it does is it has a function called apply to game. In, out, game. That works, right? And we can have a actual effect which picks a game and does something that I actually don't really care, but you do have a public init does that, and we would just say effect game. Can on the sign of this value escaping, right, this needs to be in out. There we go. Now we just need to fix the card, because card should just have effect. There we go. Oh, card, does card have to be an effect? Yes. Good question. Extension, actually public extension game. Card, be part of the game. Right. There we go. Cannot specialize non-generic type game attribute. Oh, right. I don't think I need this anymore. I think we're getting better at this. The thing is, everything would just become part of the game. Public extension, game. Delete that. Get the gang. Here is the thing though. Effect is not a protocol or a class anymore. It was working really nicely, now it's just a headache. What we could do is... how do I... I can create a effect, right? So rather than having again, I can say this is a function called gain. It takes the value, it takes the attribute type, and it would give you an effect. And the effect would be having the game object and do that. So rather than having an object, it would just become a function. The delta is the value. Attributes. Do you not have a value? You must have a value. Var value double get and set. That shall work. Cool. Event-driven effect. So, do the same thing, which is public extension on the game object itself. And we have actually a static func. Called event driven effect. We make sure, right? We say, hey, get the event and get the effect. Then we'll just be saying game dot register effect builder for the event. Oh, right. Game.register effect. More concrete types. More concrete types. Ah. This is not a type alias anymore because there is no type. Static let at being event-driven effect. Can I even do that? Does it even allow me to do that? Static stored is not okay. Escaping closures captures easy. Let effect is effect builder, and we say we return effect. So we don't have to capture. This is actually, rather than naming this thing, ooh, everything has to be called game. But I don't have a game. Shoot. Right, before I solve you, cannot find effect in scope. Right. Public extension. This is a weird direction that I have never ever taken before, but why are you still part of the biased? Wait, you're inspired or Swift, right? Yeah. Can I just build the deck builder kit? All right, lose. Lose and gain, it's very similar, rather than adding the value, you would minus the value. We're almost there. Aha, the combined effect. Public, extension, game, static, function. Yeah, combined effect, it will be an effect. Interesting. It starts with a list of effects. And we will just be doing that. And we say game. It will be game dot, nope. It will be for effect in effect dot apply to the game. Actually, this is part of the effect, right? This is just combined. This is effect. This is gain. If we go to lose. Oh. What about self? Let's see. Combined effect. Effect. Ooh, it actually builds. Interesting. Why bias cog is bothering the compiler, but not the core search? This seems a bit weird. Let's clean this, build this again, and try this again. Right. If I comment out this part, and it works. Oh. What happened? Game. Right. Now it's confused about what game. It has to be specific and whatnot. Dot effect lose, and this would be self and self. Interesting. This seems to be working. Can I run any test? I don't think any test would actually pass. Hello? Yeah. Did you build? Something is a bit wonky with Xcode. I wonder, should I restart it or not? Really? Product build for testing. It says build succeeded. It's really confusing why it is saying that. Product build for testing. It still says everything is fine. Library, targets, target. Can depend on other targets in this package. Test target, yeah. Not sure why it is not working, but it seems to think. Let me. All right, let's see. What happens if I restart Xcode? And if I get back to OBS, okay, OBS seems to be happy with my Xcode. I don't understand. It seems to be really happy about the build, but I know that the test isn't right. Let me double check my package. ChatGPT. Here is my package.swift file. I have updated my SDK code, my deck builder kit code that will break the deck builder kit tests. But when I build deck builder kit for tests, it does not mention any errors. Why? Because building the deck builder kit module alone does not include, here's a breakdown of why, separation of targets. Yep. Tests are not built automatically. You need to specifically build or run the test targets. Tests may not compile. Alright, so in the theory, right, I could... Let's see. I could go here and say, hey, Swift, build that specific target. Oh, choose target. Interesting. And now if I say it still does not. Huh? Okay, let's see. Yep, at least in the command line it says, I don't think you have done this correctly, but in the Xcode, all included, excluded, Swift testing, C test, we have even chosen the tests. Seems Xcode is strange. Zero test target. Let me double check. Go into my terminal. It's all source file. There's nothing. There is something about XC shared data in Swift SPM. Aha! It does say it added 3 XC schemes. All right, before I do that, let's try to figure this out. If I add everything and if I stash them, right, this will go back and if I try to build, try to run the tests, it does know how to run the test. And we do see there's one test target. Sure. Oh. And where should I save the test plan? How about we have a new folder here called test plans. All right, and your target is chosen. If I go back into my terminal and if I pop my stash. Right. Let's see. Add test plan. Sure. And if I go back, hey, it still says it knows there's a test plan. But now it is confused. It is real confused. Wait. That didn't go through if I tried to pop. The following untracked working tree files will be overwritten by merge. I would assume this one is mostly about the test plan. Sure, let's just do it like so. And now we can pop the stash. And this is unmerged. And how do you even review this? Update it upstream and stash change. I would probably check out the head of this file since I know it was working. And now the test sort of builds now. All right. But if I try to build, the build succeed for the SDK. It just doesn't succeed for this. Can I have a mock game? Sure. New empty file. Mocks. Right. How can I create a game? We will need an attribute. Mock attribute. This would be a struct. Mock attribute. We want to import the deck builder kit, and this would be attribute interface. It has name and value. It also needs a type, right? It needs a attribute type. Enum attribute type. Case health. Does that work? Oh, case iterable. Candidate has non-matching type string. Does not conform to the protocol. Oh, right. This would be double. There we go. Very well, very well. Don't even need a name. There we go. And cool. Cool. And I believe you, as the compiler, would be happy about this. Sure. And now we can create a game, right? We can say extension. No, we can't actually say extension. The game requires. What does it require? It also requires a game event. All right. Enum mock game event, which is case iterable, and we'd have game start. Start it. Start of the game. Or, well, actually, start of player turn. Yeah. Cool. Cool. I kind of want an enum to contain all these mocks. So that I can say static let game equals game. Attribute would be attribute and game event. Ta-da! Right. Maybe this would be a static function create game. Hey, this should be part of it, you smartass. Create game, and it will give you a game of attribute and game event. Do I even need to specify this? You should figure this out, right? All right. Here we can say mock type alias game, being that deck builder kit dot game. Yep, exactly like that. And now we can just say game and go back to this. This would be a mock dot game, and we can create it by mock dot create game. This is mock dot game event. Do I really want the mock? I don't think so. I think I want them to be outside, to be global. Type alias game, sure. And this would be create game. It's not a static function anymore. Actually, rather than create game, just make a game. I like make. This file should compile. Right, you don't have a player, that is fine. This will be game.player, and player comes from make game dot player. Right, it is accessible. I think this should work. If I test, hey, test succeeded. Mocks, sure, that's fine. All right. This would be, actually, I do not want to commit on the main branch. Oh, shoot. Didn't see all that, did you? Let's go back here for 1 second. I created a mocks file, and it just has a game type defined using the mocked attributes and game event. Ta-da! And for the player attributes, we just need to say this player is a game player, and we can just make a game and get the player from the game, which should be fresh. Every time it should be creating this for fresh. And in the game effects, event tests. Right. It would create the game with the make game function, and we can make sure that all the effects by event is not new, and it is empty, right? This is one special case where we want something to be empty. All right, cool. And now we can go back to the I term. And I do want to check out a different branch. This is split game and Spire. Split base SDK and Spire specific code. Oh, really? Pull my latest, yeah, and try this command again. Hey, there we go. And let's commit. This is split split up base SDK and Spire specific code. SDK works now. Spire does not. Okay, now it's cleaned up. We can go back to Xcode. I just have to remember to tap that special button. I wonder whether I can make a special button. So it's always lined up, the OBS and what I'm seeing. Too much effort. Let's just go to try to build the Spire.swift package. It will fail. It says I cannot find card and gain and whatnot. Right. We do have attribute, we do have game event, and we will create a new and empty file. Says Spire game.swift, and this would import the deck builder kit, and we would type alias Spire, actually just Spire, being game and attribute and game event. We can also rename this as Spire, and this being Spire. Right, the card would become Spire.card. And this would be Spire.effect. .gain. I wonder though, cannot infer contextual base in reference to game would be a attribute type, right? That should work. Attribute does not confirm to attribute type. Why does it not? Oh, right. Import deck builder kit, and you are a attribute. You require an initializer. Oh, right. You are not public anymore. I forgot. Because we have moved you into your own code. None of this is public. Still does not conform. What do you mean? It is an attribute. Bias cork and core surge and debuff. Right. I would say you, sir, you would be extending Spire dot effect, right? And you would be a static function called debuff. Yeah. And debuff. And you would take an effect builder. The effect builder is still there. Game.effect builder. Oh, actually, Spire.effect builder. Yep, just like that. Returns a Spire. Oh, right. You also return a Spire.effect. And actually, this is just self. Game, right. This is the code for that. Okay, debuff has been rewritten. There's no necessary effect anymore. There is, right. Turn, let, sure. This is effect and effect. That builds. I like it. Right. You are not a public thing anymore. Can't find card anymore. You are a spire.card. And this would be spire.effect.gain. Spire.effect.debuff, right? Yes. And it's a bit wordy. Spire.effect. Right. Event driven Spire game dot effects and at dot at and do the debuff again and do the lose focus. Spire dot effect dot has number at. What do you mean? We do have a member at. Oh, on attribute effect builder, right. There we go. Oh, oh, this is just self and self. Self. Cannot infer. What do you mean you cannot infer? Try again. Okay, it doesn't like this line of code. Let's just comment this part out. This is defined as public. You don't have to be public anymore. All right, you are building. Spire.effect.add. Oh, right. At a game event, right? And this game event is that game event. Oh, you don't know. Wait. But Spire specifies. Alright, you just need to know that this is game event. Spire.effect, aka game attribute game event.effect, has no member. What do you mean? It is right here. Alright, it does not like that part for now. I know. Spire. Actually, Spire, you're not part of the core. You're just part of the Spire. All right, cool. The cards, the bias cog. Does the bias cog work? I wonder. All right, let's comment that out and say to do. Come back and fix me, please. All right, cool. Hey, that worked out finally. And get back to builder kit. Try to run a test. That test worked. So and but, yes. Because we have moved some tests elsewhere, there are some part of the code that's just not being tested at all. Why is that not... Wait, what? Variable initialization, yeah, all that we test. Yet this says, oh, this is 100% actually, my bad. Right. Let's do some testing stuff. For example, we can see card is not being tested. So let's go into the tests. Let's see the card file. How can we... Right, card is not... Does it even need this? Does not. All right, now I see. But card does have an effect. The other thing I'm thinking right now is because the effect is part of the game and all these effects, right? It's like combined at... How can I write this thing easier so it doesn't read... It doesn't read like this, spire.effect.gain. I think ideally, right? Private let... Why is this size growing and changing? It shouldn't. Bias calc version 2. Sure. Actually, I just want some text. So I can just write anything I want. Ideally, this wouldn't look like that, like this at all. At most, ideally this would still say gain 4 and then dot focus. Right? And then it's like, oh, debuff. And then the debuff takes the whole thing. And the thing is, now if I can make them as a type. What and how and can I do that? I think I could still make effect like a separate type. No, it's getting harder in my head. I do like how it is actually like working right now. It's just not pretty. This is the ideal. Not deal, but ideal. This is the perfect biased cognition. Lose. Oh, right. This is a debuff. And this is at dot start of player turn. I love how we wrote all this stuff. And then it's another debuff. And this is lose 1 focus. Look, how readable is this? This is so readable. All right, this is the perfect, right? This is the perfect. That's what we had. The less perfect version would be somehow this is gain, somehow this is dot debuff, somehow this is dot at, and this is dot debuff, and this is dot lose. Is there a way that I can say, hey, result builder, capture all these calls and these calls, because it is a result builder, right? You can say this is the type. Can I say, hey, private let result builder equals like that. Can I say I have a result builder and let's see, how are we? This is the effect builder, right? The components, they are effect. But what if I say, rather than making it a static function, wait a minute. They are effects, right? So you could call, could I? Could I rather just say dot gain? Would that work? No, cannot infer. I think this would only work because if you say, hey, let effect being Spire dot effect, and then you can say dot lose one and focus. That works. See? That works. This is something I want to do here. I don't think the type system would allow you to do that because it would complain that I don't know what you mean. Is there a way that I can tell the Swift type system these are the static methods on Spire.effect? Right. Leave that as a to-do for now. I know, Bias Cork is getting... This file is like all of my notes. Anyway, at least deck builder kit, it does build. Let's see. What did I change? That's the Bias Cork. Right, Core Surge. What about you? Can you also build now? Yay, it does build. We're taking tiny steps. Tiny steps. And attribute interface, yes. Good. Very good. Debuff is a Spire, specifically Spire effect, because it relies on the knowledge of artifact. Let's add that to the documentation. Why it is special. Okay, debuff is specialized to Spire because it requires Spire dot attribute dot sort of type, attribute type dot artifact. Oh, actually, just attribute dot attribute type. Oh, now I know what this would do. If you create a package, how do you even import this, right? Underscore Swift. Okay. Spire.swift might not be the best name. Spire in Swift. Spire Swift. Swifty Spire. Spire underscore Swift. What a terrible, terrible name is that? Well, we have to leave with that for now. Let's go back to the terminal. Just double check, make sure everything works. Spire compiles now, not the tests. Push. And let's get back to Xcode. Yep. Let's see. What we were trying to do is we are trying to add more tests. Particularly, let's see, if I have the event-driven effect, right? I want to say when I dispatch an event, it happens. New empty file. It would be event-driven effect. Right, it's called at, but it's an event-driven effect. You understand? Spec. Actually, let's rename all of this. Spec. And spec. I feel like there are some changes I could bring back to the main branch without actually introducing the different Spire target, but I want to reset the, yeah, how do we know that? Rename things. Wait. Haven't done actual renaming of the comments yet. There we go. That is done. Deck builder kit for sure. Game effect and player attributes, sure. Rename test files. Event-driven spec. Cool. I do want that. And I want all the imports. Do I even need to testable import? Yeah, that is why we need the testable import. Final plus event-driven effect spec. Yes, it's understanding me now. It has a better understanding of me now. Does not override. Oh, damn it! It was so close. It's a class override. It's a class method override. I'll probably do something similar to this. Say context. When initialized when at the start of player's turn. So we will have a game object. And we would say, hey, before each. Oh, actually, we can initialize that outside of that. Make game. And then we can say game.dispatch event, start of player's turn. But before that, we also have to say, after registering event-driven effect. There we go. Before each. Right. You also need a before each. And you can be nested. After registering, and then we can say game.register effect. Oh, right. Right. We do need a event-driven effect. Let effect being event-driven effect game.log. Ooh, interesting. This is game.effect.at, right? And what's the action? Swift, you're trying to be smart. I can see that. At this event, or start of the player turn, and it will return. What kind of attribute do we have? Health. All right, we can say, right, this would have game, right, and it will be game dot player dot attribute dot, yeah, health attributes dot, oh, actually attributes. There we go. Finally, it works. Oh, right. Dot health dot value. Yep. Plus equals 1. And let's change the deck builder kit. What do you mean you cannot figure out what this is happening? Expect 0 argument. What do you mean 0 argument? Oh wait, how do I actually use this thing? Damn it. I'm terrible at this, don't I? You take an effect builder. Right. This is still an effect. Effect builder, so we would just return you a game.effect. There we go. We have an effect and we increase. Oh, actually, this is just a game.effect.gain value, which is 1 dot health. That seems very easy to write, and we can just say apply effect, effect. There we go. And before each, right? That we would like to say try and require game.player.health equals 0. But I don't think I can say health, because player only have attributes and dot health. Dot value. Yeah, if I can say player dot health, that would be amazing. Maybe rather than having the attributes, just have the player object. And they can have health, right? Card effect player. But I think this is the most generic way that I can make a player. If I have, if the game takes a player, it doesn't even need these attributes and things and whatnot. We might try that. I think this is the main thing, right? If player is just a thing the game takes, it's not just the player though. There's also the enemies. Why does everything has to be so hard? I think If I just have a game controller, it doesn't even have... What if, right? What if I just have a game controller? It takes a game, and then it's still the same interface. It applies effect, it registers effect, it dispatches events, right? Game, and then game would have game event. Because the core of this SDK is that effect. We don't even have to care about, right, game, you can have a player, right? You can have like enemy, you can have a map or things. The game controller, it doesn't care. It just applies the effect. Could do that, and it will simplify things, and this would be evolved even more. Here's why I don't like extracting things too soon, because when you do extracting things too soon, you don't know what is coming. You can't predict the future, but if you try to get clever... Right, let's finish this test. At 1 health. And then it's basically that without the try and the require. It's just expect. Is that how it's supposed... Yeah, see? Game, defect, gang, Then why doesn't this work? Come back to Spire. If I say spire.effect.at game event, which is start of player turn, right? Does that work? That does work. And if I say spire.effect.debuff, and then I call that, does that work? Hey, that works. I don't know what changed. I didn't change anything. But somehow it's working now. Okay. Mostly just add event-driven effect spec. Debuff works, Spire works, Bust core compiles, core search compiles. Now if I try to compile the test case, it says it doesn't have a test case to compile. Right. Can I choose a target, please? Yeah, choose. Wait, this is not what I want. Product test plans, manage test plans, close. test plans, right? There is a deck builder kit. Let's just make a new one for... There we go. This is called Spire dot Swift.exe test plan. Hopefully it doesn't hate me. Hey, it knows there are tests. And can I go into Swift and... Yeah, can I just add existing test plan using this one? Yes. Zero test target? What do you mean? Choose a target. Why, Xcode, you have to be so difficult? How about we resolve the package? I think I know what is happening. I think it is because it's called Spire.swift. How about Swift in Spire? Spire in Swift. Spire in Swift. Everything's changing. Spire in Swift. Make sure to change everything that mentions Spire.swift. Because I was an idiot. There we go. And now, configure Spire.swift for running. There's no Spire.swift. There is a Spire in Swift. It can be built. Product. Build for testing. It doesn't understand the assignment. Does not. Because this is not testing. If I go see the deck builder kit, it does have one test target, one configuration. It builds these two targets. If I go to see Spire in Swift, it says two targets, it says zero test target. I did tell you to use the Spire in Swift one, right? Yes. Now if I close it, try to rerun, it says build successfully. There are no test bundles available to test. Ensure that all packet dependencies have resolved. There are no missing test bundles in active scheme or test plan. Oh, this is missing. All right. Choose this. Try to build this. See, there are tests here. But it says, I can't find it. What do you mean you can't find it? It's right there. All right, let me restart Xcode. I don't like Xcode. Give me 1 sec. It still says it's not there. Missing. Spire in Swift tests. Missing. Spire in Swift test. Debugger kit. Spire in Swift quick. Spire in Swift. Spire in Swift. Which part are you not happy about all of this? Hey, now it's happy. It says, oh, it's here. I can see them now. Oh, finally. All right, cool. Game becomes Spire. It says, I don't know anything about Spire. Right, you don't. I'm just thinking, right? Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Because, excuse me. All right. Because I'm writing the Spire thingy as if it is an SDK, I think I should follow the same principles where everything should be public. Oh, most of things should be public. Let's go back here. Xcode, hello? Hello, sir? Partially stuck. If I try to open Spire, hey, it does open. Make this public. You need to be public. All right. You also need to be public. You also need to be public. Right. How can I... Oh, just... init. There we go. Has to be public. Fix that for me, Swift. Thank you. If I import Spire. Import Spire in Swift. Bias cognition is also a public let. It will complain about... It uses an underlying internal type. Right, that's just you now. Right, game, I do need to play cards. Public mutating function, play, card. Basically, we are saying card.effect.apply to shelf. I think that is the thing we want to do. So rather than say apply, now we say play card. Int value, sure, this can be a public thing too. This is not changeable, this is changeable from the outside world, sure. What you not happy about? Right, Spire, but somehow you can be created by the game. Interesting. Spire. Yeah, core surges. Right, if I go backwards, import that. Thank you very much. You would say core surge is not there, and this is not an effect. Core surge is not there because it's not public. Easy fix. Easy. This should kind of work. card, play, card. Can I finally run the tests now? This is a ghost. Hey! 100% coverage. Look how good is that? How nice it looks. Alright. Let's commit this in and say Spire in Swift. Tests. Compiles to. Hey, nice. We have been streaming for how long? Doesn't tell me. Oh, it does. About 2 hours. Oh my god, time does fly. I do think it might be a little bit too early to split them out and going through all these changes, but it's fun to explore what is possible. I do prefer how it was written before, just gain debuff and at the player turn, debuff, lose 1 focus. Right now, this is too verbose, which means something isn't quite right with our current design. But hey, it kind of works. We have the test running. We can create a game, we can play a card, we can make sure that it gives us the right number of focus. And after the first turn, right, we lose. It lowers the focus by 1. And if you go on and on, you lose more focus. And if you go on to 5th turn, the focus can go into the negative. And if we have a core surge, and it is applied after the bias cognition, at the beginning it would stop the debuff, but after the first turn, it won't stop the debuff anymore. And if the core surge is applied before the bias cognition, then it will stop all the debuffs in all future turns. Hey, at least that is working. Alright, let me see. Let me have a look. Let me switch to this view so you can see what I'm doing. And switch back to Xcode. This is before the change, where we only have a deck builder kit and the game specific cards and logic. They were not separated from this SDK. And I do like how we can just write things like this. It's very humanly readable compared to the other design where we had things like this in front. Spire dot effect dot gain. This is neater without all the irrelevant information. But I do feel like I shouldn't have extracted the game away from the SDK so quickly because, you know, the whole thing could evolve rather quickly. We could have a different form. For example, if we go back to the previous branch, I have note somewhere here. Imagine we don't have the game anymore defined by our SDK, but instead we have, let's try that actually, public, it will be a final class probably, and this would be a game controller, which takes a game, sure. The game would define events. So probably we want a protocol, say it's a game, and it will have effect. Protocol effect. Yeah, sure. Apply to... Oh. Here is the thing. Game needs an effect. Effect needs to know to be applied to game. Social type effect. Effect. Game effect. Would this work? Game is ambiguous, right? It's like you want a game, you want game event, you also want a game. Oh, actually, you just want effect. Actually, effect is a function, isn't it? And then this is a type alias. Effect is basically an in-out game void. And then you can say function apply effect. Imagine if we have a var, which is a game, and we initialize with a game. Sure. This is private. Of course. Why wouldn't it be? Maybe not private. Maybe it's internal because we want to do some testing. Apply the effect. We could just say effect. Could do that. Could also do register effect for game event. But then we need to keep a list of game event. This would be... Yep, case iterative and hashable. Meaning we can have this. Right. Imagine this is just like that. And somehow we will be saying effect by event. Come on. There we go. It says, hey, append. Converting non-escaping effect. Oh, I see. Right now, effect is a structure. Before, it was just a function, wasn't it? Now this has to be escaping. That's fine. I think this might be a better way. So I don't have to dictate, oh, player has to have this. Oh, this game have to have that. I don't have to care as the game controller. Maybe. Maybe this is a new direction. Game controller, game, and game event. I think that's the only thing we need so far for this to work. But I haven't figured out what would we do if we want to select a target. Hmm. Hmm. Anyway, I think that will be it for tonight. I hope I will see you guys again next time, somewhere, sometime. And I hope you have enjoyed this stream and video. If you do, hit those buttons, whether it's like, subscribe, or follow. And I hope you have a good time before I see you next time. I have said time too many times. And now it's time for me to say, ciao. I will see you next time. Bye.